It was one of them, a shifter. Anger and hatred hardened the features on her face. They were the reason for the wall, the reason she and everyone else had to agree to be caged. They were prisoners, with a man like Aldrich deciding who would live and who would die. The shifter didn't slow down. He continued toward her and didn't stop until he was only a few feet away. The wolf stood just outside her reach. His lips curled back, showing her sharp teeth as a growl rumbled from the chest of the beast. "I will kill you. I am not afraid of you," Cara said, ignoring the shaking of the blade in her hand. It was the cold, not her fear. She hated the monster too much to have any room for healthy fear. "You stole my freedom!" His white head turned as he began to pace in a wide circle around Cara. The yellow eyes of the beast were no longer staring into hers. They were running over her body. The head of the wolf lifted, smelling the air. He drew closer. "Not another step," Cara growled through clenched teeth. The wolf snapped its massive jaws together. The clap of teeth against teeth was like a gunshot. She almost dropped the blade. The wolf leapt toward her. Cara swung the blade, catching the beast on the biggest part of his thick, white, fur-covered front leg. The wolf leapt back, the cry of pain surprising Cara. "It's true what they say about the silver. The shifters can't stand to touch it." A snarl ripped through the air like thunder. Cara's legs shook harder. She was scared. There was no denying that now. The wolf snarled and barked at her, his rage clear to see. "This is it." She held the blade with both hands, pointing the tip toward the enraged shifter. The wolf came at Cara fast, catching her right arm with his powerful jaws. Cara released the blade with her right hand, taking it into her left. Pain radiated through her arm, but she was used to pain. It was the sight of the blood and the sharp teeth that made her cry out. The wolf released her arm, his huge head rising. His yellow eyes widened at her. Cara brought the handle of the blade down hard, catching the wolf on the side of his head. A small yelp of surprise, more than pain, came out of the beast, and he shot away into the forest. She gripped the weapon and stumbled forward. "I have to get deeper into the woods. Aldrich, he'll be coming." Darian crouched low, watching in disbelief as the wounded human trudged deeper into the forest. A woman? He didn't know until she screamed. The stench of the water covered her feminine scent. The way she'd acted, determined to pull the body from the water, he'd assumed it had been a young boy. What he'd taken to be a cape was not a cape at all. It was a dress. I attacked a woman. The guilt that poured through him was overwhelming. It shouldn't make a difference. If she was a murderer, then she deserved death just like the other hunters that came after Darian's pack. His family. It did matter, though. She was a weak, human woman. The skin discoloration on her face was proof of abuse. The woman was misused. She was mistreated by her own people. The betrayal of enduring abuse from her people, her family. It must be what drove her to murder. She continued walking. As she moved, chunks of mud and filth from the moat began to slide away from the material of her dress. It was a blue nightgown. What he'd mistaken for large clumps of mud he now recognized were the womanly curves of a female. The rip up the side of the ruined nightgown gave Darian glimpses of long, lean legs. How the hell did I ever think she was male? She should be too exhausted to continue. The amount of blood she was losing wasn't extreme, but if the wound went untreated, she would suffer infection. Darian had to give her credit. She wasn't crying. Most of the hunters cried when they faced him, especially if they managed to fight him off momentarily as she had. She spotted him a few times as he followed her. The deep frown and scowl she aimed at him should have made him feel resentful. It didn't. The woman had spirit and a brave heart. She walked for hours, not stopping to rest or to find food. Darian couldn't help but wonder what was driving her so hard to continue.